I think she's a nice girl, too. She's just too big for me.
She's a little overweight, but that's pretty normal for a girl in the 4th grade.
Well, Kim Kardashian is skinny, and she just had a baby.
What?
I'm sorry, Wendy, but I have a different standard when it comes to my women.
Yeah!
We get to meet her.
Well, I was hoping to go see her right now. You can come along.
Naturally, they're proud of their little boy, but one parent's a bit more surprised than the other.
You see? I told you he wouldn't turn out gay.
All right, you win.
What a thing to
What it is, guys? It's your boy BlastphamousHD. Now, South Park is not known for their heartfelt episodes. The nicest thing I've ever seen one of them do to the other is kick them in the balls and then laugh at them mercilessly in front of their girlfriend when it actually hurt them. With that being said, today we're here to check out a video called The Unexpected Heartfelt Episodes in South Park.
South Park is mostly known for putting riveting content like this onto the airwaves.
Oh boy.
However, that's not to say the show doesn't have genuine tearjerkers in its catalog as well. In fact, today I've gathered up each and every emotional South Park episode I could find to see if I can't get your heart to break. We'll start things off with one that legitimately made me cry when I first saw it, Raisins. The name is dumb, but the premise isn't.
Wendy breaks up.
What?
Wendy breaks up with you.
See what I mean? This one's gonna get heavy. One day while the boys play football, Bebe tells Stan that Wendy's breaking up with him. Oh, not even telling him herself. The boys assume that Stan's perfectly okay with it, but that's clearly not the case.
What a... Like Stan gives a crap if Wendy breaks up.
With Stan embarking on an emotional, rainy montage that'll really hit you right in the feels. Even folks who've never had a breakup have got to feel bad for the kid. The next day, Stan gets called to ask Wendy why she broke up and gets a sorta non-answer.
Look, Stan is really nice. I've been wanting to break up for a while, but it's nothing against him. I just don't want to be boyfriend and girlfriend anymore.
Fair enough, but that's kind of the least satisfying answer ever. When Kyle's done being Stan's middleman, Stan replaces him with Jimmy, wanting him to tell her something poetic, and so he does.
Stan says you're
Well, tell Stan
continuing source of inspiration to him.
Always gotta be careful with your stutters, folks. With Wendy not wanting to speak to him, Stan goes into full-on isolation mode. And when his friends come to check up on him, he's nowhere near getting over things.
What's the point of living when the only girl I'll ever love is gone?
God, what a... Dude, not now.
Cartman always has the worst things to say. To try and help cheer him up, the guys take Stan to Raisins, which is basically Hooters, except all the waitresses are the boys' age. Don't question.
Hey guys, welcome to Raisins. 6 of you, right over here. So you guys having a good time today? How about some more fun fries, guys?
Ironically, Butters ends up getting the most enjoyment out of the restaurant as he feels he has a connection to one of the waitresses named Alexis.
Aw, well, when am I gonna get to see you again?
When do you want to see me?
As soon as possible.
Here, we left you a tip already, but here's another $5.
You're such a sweetie. Come here, you.
We all know how healthy relationships founded on the basis of money are. Meanwhile, the Raisins visit only made Stan further realize he can't live without Wendy. He goes over to her house and enacts his foolproof get-back-together plan. As amazing as the plan is, there's one issue. Tokens with Wendy now. Yeah, we're hitting all the beats of an awful breakup here.
Playing 70s love music. It could work.
Back at Raisins, Butters is waiting after hours to talk to Alexis and give her a gift, and manages to do so despite security. In fact, Butters is so in love with this girl, he's ready to take things up a notch.
I was thinking that we should go do something sometime.
That would be great, honey, but I'm really busy this week. Tell you what, you come back to Raisins and then we'll be able to hang out all we want, okay?
You know, I'm happy he's happy. The next day at school, Stan's still feeling depressed over Wendy, and so commits a cardinal sin for any and all school kids, joining the Goths.
Life is pain. Life is only pain. There's only blackness. Dark, depressing loneliness that eats at your soul.
I'm cringing really hard at that kid's little monologue. He's like a slightly worse version of me as a child. Stan asks the Goths of what the point of living is if life's only pain, and realizes that it's to make life a living hell for the conformists of the world.
No.
To finally seal the deal, the Goths have a poetry night in, well...
Happiness dies in the dark sage.
Yeah, happiness dies.
Yeah.
Stan! At least you know he's committed with that Edgar Allan Poe shirt, too. While that's going on, Butters decides to call up Alexis from home, as he's out of cash and can't go to Raisins anymore. He invites Alexis over to watch a movie, though she's insistent they should just meet at Raisins, so Butters promises he'll get more money, and even opens his heart up as well, albeit to an empty phone line.
Alexis, Oh, geez, maybe I shouldn't say it. I love you.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, as sweet as this situation is, I think we can all see where this is going. Butters asks his parents for an advance on his allowance, telling them about his girlfriend and inviting them to come along.
Oh, that is so cute.
Well, all right. Good for you, Butters.
When do we get to meet her?
Well, I was hoping to go see her right now. You can come along.
Naturally, they're proud of their little boy, but one parent's a bit more surprised than the other.
You see? I told you he wouldn't turn out gay.
All right, you win.
What a thing to place a bet on. I should ask my parents if they placed any bets on me. Meanwhile, Stan's at a diner with the goth kids when Kyle comes in to try and pull him out of depression one more time. But when Stan goes on some edgy tirade, Kyle decides he's through.
That's it. I give up. Have fun being miserable.
Conformist.
Yeah.
What is Kyle even conforming to? Happiness? Call me a conformist too, I guess. So Butters and his family arrive
Never
at
fall for
Raisins,
that
and they
one,
all
right?
soon figure out what's going on.
You should be learning a skill so you can grow up to be a businesswoman or even a doctor. Who knows, you could cure cancer.
I could cure cancer? Oh my god, that would be so cool. I had a cancer sore on my lip once and it hurt so bad.
Never mind, I think
Word?
Raisins might be the perfect place for you.
Cool!
I mean, to be fair, she's probably only in 5th grade or something. I'd probably have mixed up cancer and canker as well. Finally, Butters' parents come
Oh,
right
boy.
out and say it. Alexis is
canker
only
sore.
flirting with Butters for
It's
money.
not a
Butters doesn't
cancer
really
sore
believe his
at
parents
all.
at all and decides to move out on the spot. Though quickly, reality smacks him in the face.
What are you talking about, kid? We are not boyfriend and girlfriend.
What? Lexus, what are you saying? You don't want to be together anymore?
I'm sorry, sweetie.
Yeah, we all knew this was coming. But it didn't make things any easier knowing that, and to make things even sadder. He was so happy. The scene tears
Yeah,
me
that's
up,
sad
dude.
to
The
see,
gods
man.
offer Butters a place in their group, but Butters turns them down and makes a really great point.
Yeah, and I'm sad, but at the same time, I'm really happy that something can make me feel that sad. It makes me feel alive, you know? It makes me feel human. The only way I can feel this sad now is if I felt something really good before.
Even now, I always like to think about this line from Butters. It's really beautiful. So much so that Stan decides he likes enjoying life a lot more than hating it. The next day at school, Stan finally joins the boys in football and decides to get through this sadness in a much healthier way.
Hey, Wendy, you're a token right here, buddy.
I mean, sure, I guess that
Oh,
works. Though
no.
breakups aren't the only form of loss this show's dealt with, as in the episode Kenny Dies, Kenny Die. And his death is treated as anything but a running gag.
That's wild.
Hey, dude, how's it going? We brought you a present. It's a gobo fighter. Don't tell him what it is, dude. Sorry.
Oh, dude, he's hooked up to the tubes and everything, poor guy. The episode starts with a woman allowing the stem cells of her unwanted child to be loaded into a truck sent out to a research center. Though after a deer hops onto the road, the truck takes a deadly detour. And you'll never guess who comes along the crash site.
My baby takes the moon and
Cartman and fetus stem cells? What could possibly go wrong?
Everything.
Cartman invites the boys over to tell them the exciting news, though when he finally gives them the details, they realize how messed up the whole situation really is.
I saw it on 321 Contact. What I have in my backyard is an aborted treasure chest. With all the research that's going on, stem cells are worth 3 times their weight in gold.
He's got access to
Word?
something that can cure cancer, and that's how he phrases it? Cartman starts getting to work on selling off his fetuses and finally manages to get a buyer. Though when he shows up to deliver his medical goods, the researchers have to turn him down. Turns out the government just passed a new law that bans stem cell research.
What the hell am I supposed to do with these things, huh? God damn it!
Honestly, Cartman's reaction's pretty valid. I'd be pissed if I was stuck with a bunch of illegal fetuses. Back at home, Stan and Kyle
I
are
can
called
see
to the
that.
principal's
I'd be mad
office,
if
and
I
the
was
two
stuck
think
with
they've
that
been
many
wrapped up in Cartman's
fetuses
fetus
as
scheme.
well.
However, the real reason they were called in is much worse.
Children, Kenny has been diagnosed with a terminal disease.
The doctors are gonna make him better, right?
The way Chef said that is such a gut punch, man. The boys head to Cartman's place to tell him the news and decide to head to the hospital to give their friend company in his time of need. They show up and try to lighten the mood, though Stan can't stand to look at his friend like this and just rushes off, leading to another super heavy moment.
And what are we supposed to do, huh? Stand in that room and keep making small talk? Make believe like everything's okay? I can't do it. However hard you think it is for you, it's a lot harder for him. Just leave me alone. Stan, you can't leave.
Hey.
I'm not the one who's leaving. He is.
As hurtful as it seems, I totally understand where
That's
Stan's
wild.
coming from. Everyone reacts to this type of thing differently, and some just need to run away. It's really tragic. Back in the hospital, Cartman admits to Kenny that he's always seen him as his best friend, before Kyle catches him on his way out. Kyle sees Cartman
That'd be
actually
like punching at
cry, and even
1.2,
consoles
like-
his former enemy.
I'm gonna find a cure, Kyle. I swear to God, I'm gonna find a cure. Sure you will.
It's really touching to see bitter rivals get along for a common good for once. Kenny would be proud. Wanting to find a cure
I
for
can see
Kenny's
Kenny being
muscular
proud of that.
disease, Cartman heads over to the Stem Cell Research Center to ask some questions, and learns that stem cells can be used to replace missing or damaged cells, potentially curing things like the nervous system or heart diseases.
Look, you have trillions of cells in your body, but before a cell is designated as a toenail cell or a pancreas cell, it's what we call a stem cell, sort of like a blank cell, do you understand? Because these cells are blanks, they will often program
Blank
themselves
cells.
based on what cells you put around them. You see this rat? Earlier this year, we surgically removed the middle of her spine. Then we injected her with some stem cells and they became the missing part of the spine.
All you need to do is put them next to other cells and they try to copy them. And so Cartman gets an idea.
Looks like somebody's gonna have to try and change the government's mind. There's a pretty brave kid fighting for his life in the hospital right now, Doctor. I'm gonna go get him some bigger boxing gloves.
Never thought I'd see the day where Cartman does something selfless. Back at the hospital, Kenny still wants to see Stan, but instead gets a visit from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. They ask Kenny what he'd want if he could have anything in the world, and his response is pretty valid.
What did he say?
He said his wish is not to die.
That silence says it all, does it not? I'd probably wish for the same thing. At the Capitol, Cartman gets his chance to convince folks to revoke the stem cell ban, saying that altogether it is a touchy subject, but if there's a chance that stem cells could be used to cure his best friend, he owes it to Kenny to try.
I realize that using the tissue from aborted fetuses for research is a touchy subject, but all I know is that if there's a chance that stem cell research could save my best friend's life, well, I guess I owe it to him to try and change your minds.
He realizes his words aren't doing justice to the cause, and so decides to try singing. But of course, the US legislative branch is a very organized and formal group, so singing would never work on them.
It was the heat of the moment, telling me what your heart meant.
I stand corrected. Cool, the ban's overturned. Cartman heads back to the clinic to gather as many stem cell donors as possible, and it looks like finally everything is starting to cheer up. Stan even finally has the courage to talk to Kenny at the hospital. Maybe that'll be all he needs to push through this disease. Oh.
Oh no. He just stopped breathing and it was over.
Wow.
Did he say anything before he went? He just said, "Where's Stan?"
Soon after, the whole town is in attendance for Kenny's funeral, and Stan's still
That's
lamenting his
wild.
handling of the situation, thinking he was Kenny's worst friend. Thankfully, Cartman busts into the cathedral, claiming there's been a miracle, and so the boys rush out to get a look.
I put the stem cells from all the fetuses I had next to Shakey's, and they are replicating a new Shakey's. It worked!
So Cartman used Kenny's illness to lift the ban on stem cells just so he could make his own pizza place. Stan was not Kenny's worst friend. If you're eager to see Cartman get some comeuppance after that last scheme, though, Cartmanland might not be the episode for you.
It's our grand opening. Cartmanland has over 100 fabulous rides, 6 roller coasters, and tons of great surprises. And the best part is, you can't come!
Would you believe me if I told you that this annoying commercial was at the center of a religious issue? After Eric's grandmother's funeral, the will is read out to the rest of the Cartman family. While Eric doesn't get the family mansion, he still was his grandmother's favorite, and so she leaves him something just as special.
For you, Eric, I leave the sum of $1 million to be transferred to you immediately.
Who's a gigawatt?
I don't know how Eric, of all people, could be anyone's favorite anything, but hey, maybe Grandma was just as diabolical as him. Cartman transfers his funds from the bank, dead set on spending it on his dream, and eventually runs into Stan and Kyle, who can't believe their eyes, especially Kyle.
No, this isn't possible. Yeah, it's unbelievable. No, I mean, this isn't possible, Stan. Cartman is the biggest asshole in the world. How is it that God gives him $1 million? Come on, we gotta see what Cartman is doing with his money.
Honestly, that's a valid question. We've all seen the things Cartman does. I don't think he deserves that $1 million. Soon after, Cartman's at the local amusement park looking to buy the thing for himself, though the owner warns Cartman that the place hasn't had any visitors lately and hasn't been making any money. For anyone else, this would be an issue. But this is Eric Cartman we're talking about.
Oh, but I'm not buying the park to get people to come.
You're not?
No. I'm buying it to keep people out.
Yeah, he's just tired of waiting in line at the amusement park and wants the whole place to himself. Let's go, dude. Later that night, Stan finds Kyle sitting alone in a synagogue with the other kids worried about where he's been all day. Turns out, Kyle's got a problem. A hemorrhoid problem, to be precise. Yep, while Cartman gets a whole theme park all to himself, Kyle got an infected blood vessel in his ass.
I'm always saying, I learned something today, and what does this so-called God give me in return? A hemorrhoid. It doesn't make sense. What is your logic? Ow.
This is the perfect example of how life just isn't fair sometimes. I mean, Cartman is crying literal tears of joy at his theme park, while Kyle is crying tears over a religious crisis. The boys try their best to ignore Cartman in his park by watching TV, but even on the airwaves, they can't escape his obnoxious behavior.
So come on down to Cartmanland but don't plan on getting past the parking lot, because remember, so much to do at Cartmanland, but you can't come, especially you stand come.
That may just be the most spiteful advertisement ever created.
Yo!
That night, Stanley
Yo, that ad is diabolical, bruh. Yo. Oh my God.
Kyle head off to try and sneak into Cartman's theme park, though Kyle
Best
bursts a
place you
hemorrhoid
could
on the
ever go,
fence
but
on the
you
way in
can't come.
and alerts Eric.
Oh God, I popped it! Oh, it hurt!
Cartman realizes he's got to get security, but also needs to pay the guy, and so makes the brutal decision to let 2 people in his park a day in order to afford a security guard. Meanwhile, Kyle's at the hospital as his hemorrhoid has become infected. Stan tries to get Kyle to cheer up, but it's clear that the poor kid is just not in the mood, to say the least.
Because I finally figured it out. If someone like Cartman can get $1 million in his own theme park, then there is no God.
Considering how proudly Jewish Kyle is, you already know how heavily this is affecting him. At the park, Cartman realizes he needs to hire a maintenance guy to repair broken rides, as well as food vendors to feed staff, and so is forced to let a few more people inside each day to cover their expenses, though there's still one person he's not letting in no matter what.
Let me in! I thought you said buying a theme park was stupid! It is stupid, Cartman! You made Kyle lose his faith in God, you fat asshole!
Move along, sir.
He's so petty that he'll let one of his best friends be pepper sprayed in the face. And if I were Stan, I'd move away, honestly. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near Cartman at all.
Well, now I can finally get back to riding my ride. Sweet! Yay!
Back at the hospital, Kyle's parents bring a Bible and read their son the book of Job, which tells the story of Job, a man who believed in God and was extremely righteous. Satan challenged God to take away all the things Job cherished to see if he'd still be godly, still be faithful, and so he did just that, killing his family and friends and giving him blisters, amongst many other things. Yet even still, Job believed.
God said to Satan, "See, I told you, Job still praises me."
And that's it? That's the end? That's the most horrible story I've ever heard. Why would God do such horrible things to a good person just to prove a point to Satan?
That's it, no reward. In the actual Bible, Job does get a reward, but I guess in South Park, that just doesn't... that never happened. I'm sure that lovely story is exactly what Kyle needed to hear.
I don't know.
Then I was right. Job has all his children killed. Michael Bay gets to keep making movies. There isn't a God.
See, now that I think about it, Kyle may be onto something here. Surely no God would ever allow those Transformers movies to exist. Meanwhile, Cartman says,
Those movies are awesome. Word? He must not have seen them all the way through and only saw clips. It happens to the best of us.
having to let more and more people into his park to afford staff, inadvertently creating a thriving business. So much so that his strategy is being employed by other businesses, all of which is the last thing Kyle needed to hear about. But, well...
Eric Cartman is surely the financial genius of our time.
Kyle?
Oh.
Get the doctor!
Kyle doesn't even want to fight the infection at this point. This really is just incredibly tragic the more you think about it. Meanwhile, Cartman's starting to really feel the effects of having a crowded theme park, finding the previous owner and selling it back for his $1 million. He's really passing up on a lucrative business just because he can't be the first in line for a log ride, huh?
Congratulations on your success.
Just give me my money back. I changed my mind. I don't want your stupid park.
But it's doing great.
You call this great? I call it hell. Trade me back, goddammit.
I'll go get your money right now.
However, as soon as he leaves, the IRS comes up and takes all his money, saying he hasn't been keeping track of his income, and he has also had a little boy die on one of the rides. Who was it? Well, who do you think? To finally give Kyle the courage to fight the infection, Stan decides to give Kyle a little faith in the world and show him what Cartman's now been reduced to. A man who had his dream and lost it.
It's not fair. I want to die. I want to die. You are up there.
What a crazy way to have your faith restored. We go from lost faith in God to lost faith in humanity with The Hobbit.
I want a woman who takes care of herself, who's got perfect skin and no splotches on her legs and perfect everything.
This one gets so depressing towards the end. The episode starts by showing the cheerleading squad practicing with Lisa Berger, lacking a bit of confidence. Wendy gets the idea to have her ask her crush, Butters, out on a date to build confidence. And so she heads off to the cafeteria to pop the big question.
Baby, you would like to go to a movie this weekend.
Oh, like a date? Oh, no thanks, Lisa. I really appreciate the offer, but you're too fat for me.
The way he said that so politely with a smile. Only Butters can be polite while calling someone fat. Wendy storms over to Butters to scold him, but Butters explains that while he thinks Lisa is a nice girl, he just has a very particular beauty standard.
Do you have any idea how you made her feel? She's a really nice girl.
I think she's a nice girl, too. She's just too big for me.
She's a little overweight, but that's pretty normal for a girl in the 4th grade.
Kim Kardashian is skinny and she just had a baby. What? I'm sorry, Wendy, but I have a different standard when it comes to my women.
Kim Kardashian. Wendy yell-splains to Butters that Kim Kardashian uses a ton of Photoshop to achieve unreal beauty, and says in reality she looks like a fracking Hobbit.
Too.
Well, I mean, let's just hear where this goes. Mr. Mackey calls the two to detention, but while you may think it's over Butters calling Lisa fat, in reality...
Apparently you called Butters' girlfriend a Hobbit.
Are you serious?
You said Kim is short, fat, and hairy with big feet and she's a Hobbit.
Oh yeah, it's totally Wendy who's in the wrong here. Mr. Mackey says he thinks Wendy is jelly and even invites a guest speaker to the school to explain why it isn't fair to call Kim K a Hobbit. Who's the guest? Everyone's favorite gay fish, Kanye West.
Kim is heavier than most of her pictures show her to be. Yes, she gets her hair lasered off her body. Yes, she has a friend named Gandalf who happens to be a wizard.
Kinda sounds like Kim Kardashian might be a Hobbit. After Kanye's presentation, Wendy decides to show Butters how easy it is to make yourself pretty with Photoshop, editing a picture of Lisa to prove Kim K is a faker. Butters gets the wrong idea though, dashing off to go ask Lisa out.
Are you saying that girl wants to go out with me?
What do you mean?
And I said no? Oh man, I gotta upload this and then go buy her some flowers and then go tell her I love her.
Butters!
Unfortunately for him though, Klein's already gotten together with her, and all the guys at school are super jealous.
What?
Wendy tries to explain to the guys that she made the picture of Lisa to prove a point, eventually cracking by saying,
She's not hot! That's supposed to be the point!
She looks pretty hot here.
Lisa Berger is not hot! She's fat and ugly! What's your problem, Wendy?
That's not very nice, Wendy.
worst possible timing. Mr. Mackey once again warns Wendy against being jelly, and Wendy promises to change. When the cheer team finally perform, everyone goes crazy for Lisa, and the rest of the team wants Wendy to edit their pictures too. Wendy refuses, and so the girls realize they've got to hit the gym.
Burn it off! You got this!
You want a boyfriend? You want an ice?
Hope they aren't paying too much for their membership. What kind of gym even does that?
That is not the type of gym that they was talking about.
Guys have a full-on gawk fest over all the girls' pictures, and when Stan goes up to Wendy to try to have her post some updated ones, she snaps, saying that people should be okay with their imperfections, and then starts listing everyone's imperfections.
Bebe has acne, Lola's arms are too short, Nicole's eyes are puffy, Annie has thin hair, and Heidi Turner's butt is flat! Oh, god damn it!
I've said it once, I'll say it again. Worst possible timing. At cheer practice, Wendy's now the one with a lack of confidence, with the others calling her a hater and says that she needs to go to the gym. Obviously, that doesn't go over well.
Problem with having fake pictures of yourself is that you start to believe in your own bullshit. And if society won't fix it, I will.
Wendy heads to the news station to try and get any photoshopped images to be labeled as edited, but they also just end up seeing her as a jealous hater. Eventually, Wendy is visited at night by a special guest, trying to explain the Hobbit's reasoning for using Photoshop.
Once upon a time, there was a little Hobbit who lived in the forest, and all the Hobbit ever wanted was to be beautiful.
You see, Kim Kardashian, the Hobbit, had their dreams come true through Photoshop, and Wendy really is a hater. Even if the Hobbit's dreams are incredibly shallow and pathetic, sure. So the next day at school, Wendy finally gives in to the pressure and photoshops her image with tears in her eyes. Really depressing to see someone lose a battle they should never have even had to fight in the first place. Though humanity isn't always as shallow as that, as shown in the city part of town.
Hi.
That moment is even sweeter when you know the full context. The episode begins with Jimmy Fallon making fun of the town of South Park, saying if Mr. Garrison came from there, the other people must be a bunch of worthless pumpkins as well. Keep in mind, Mr. Garrison was running for president and was essentially Trump in this season. The town has a meeting to try and figure out how to repair its image, and Randy has a phenomenal idea.
The truth is there's something we're lacking as a community. What this town needs is a Whole Foods.
Whole Foods. And
Really?
the Walmart.
A Whole Foods?
And the
You're a
Kmart.
town that said,
And
will
the
this
Chick-fil-A.
happen? And that's what'll fix it in your minds? I can't believe I'm saying this, but maybe Jimmy Fallon has a point. The town gets behind the idea, even planning on building a little area for artisan shops and cafes to obstruct the cruddier parts of town and attract Whole Foods there. Kenny's family takes the issue with the area going right around their house, but the town assures the McCormicks that they'll handle things with grace. Do they do that? No, definitely not. Meanwhile, the owner of City Walk is noticing that he's getting less customers, and when he hears of the opening of SoDoSoPa, the new urban center of town, he checks it out.
City Walk is like one of my favorite things.
Fair enough. Kenny's little sister wants to get
Shitty
ice
Walk.
cream, though the places at
Come get some of
SoDoSoPa
our
are too
shitty
expensive for
chicken.
the family, meaning they've just gotta sit and watch while everyone else has fun cluttering their front yard. What's worse, they're building apartments around the place too.
State-of-the-art finishes and balconies with views of historic Kenny's house.
Poor guy. He looks so confused. Fed up, Kenny takes a walk and finds a help wanted sign outside a City Walk. He heads inside to see that Mr. Kim is setting up a whole child labor force.
Together, child labor force, we are going to bring SoDoSoPa to its knees.
I mean, he's already taken on the Mongolian single-handedly. SoDoSoPa should be quick work for him, honestly. The next day, a Whole Foods representative comes to town and starts to see if South Park is up to their progressive standards. Meanwhile, Mr. Kim's getting City Walk all cleaned up to attract customers, with Kenny laboring away in the mix. Though, unfortunately, it's all for naught.
Wait! City Walk, take an order, please! Take an order, please!
That's not exactly the emotional moment of the episode, but I almost feel bad for the guy. If only he wasn't using child labor. Back at SoDoSoPa, the Whole Foods rep likes what he sees, but needs a place to stay. And while they only have a Motel 6 for now, Randy shows the man their future plans for expanded housing.
Now you can relax in your state-of-the-art deck spa while taking in views of that mixed SoDoSoPa culture.
You shut your mouth or I'll shut
Of course, it's right in front of Kenny's place, because who wouldn't want a front row seat to those arguments? Back at City Walk, Kenny's staying overtime to try and make some more money, and Mr. Kim takes notice.
I like you, Dennis. You work real hard. I wish I could give you more. You deserve more.
Honestly, this is a really touching conversation. Crazy how the show manages to make me feel for Mr. Kim of all characters. Mr. Kim worries he's gonna have to shut his restaurant down because of the competition, but Kenny gets an idea.
It's an all-new food and nightlife district. This is Shitty Pot Town.
Yeah, they made their own advertisement for the shitty part of town and pitched it as progressively SoDoSoPa. This can only end well. The staff gets ready to welcome all the new customers, but are instead met with a mob enraged that they're risking their chances with the Whole Foods rep. Unfortunately, the rep walks in right in front of the town-wide battle, and oh boy, here we go.
I've never seen a town put so much energy into displaying an exaggerated sense of social consciousness. Congratulations, you have your Whole Foods.
What? Even after... Actually, no. For Whole Foods, that kind of checks out. They're owned by Amazon, who are the kings of hiding awful practices with a happy mask, right next to McDonald's. Unfortunately, City Walk still has no customers, so Mr. Kim lets Kenny go and gives him his very small child labor check. Kenny heads home when we quickly find out what he's been working towards.
This is mine.
Oh, my heart just melted. Oh, Kenny put himself through literal illegal labor to make his sister happy. That's the kind of emotion only South Park could create, man. Though if you're tired of heartwarming, Stanley's Cup has got you covered in the heartbreaking department.
It's a pretty bad time for me, Coach. I'm only 5 and I'm dying.
Yep, now you understand what we're working with. The episode starts with Stan at his newspaper delivery job when his bike is towed by the county for having too many unpaid tickets. Stan heads over to the town government center to get his bike back, but the county official is...
Stan Marsh is a bright young man. Got a great family. A promising paper rep. Only problem is, his bike's been impounded.
Well, he's about as helpful as most local government employees. I'm looking at you, DMV lady. The official says he'll help Stan out if he coaches the town's Pee-wee hockey team, and one annoying trailer voiceover later, Stan's at the recreation center. With the kids' skill set, Stan's obviously got a tough job ahead of him, but it gets even tougher when he realizes that one of the kids is a little worse for wear than the others.
Nelson has leukemia. It's already spread to his bone marrow. I don't want to have cancer.
Oh man, that's awful. No kid should ever have to go through leukemia. As if the situation isn't sour enough, Park County's rival, the Adams County team, shows up to gloat in Stan's face. How could this get any worse?
Please don't let us lose to Adams County. My daddy will beat me again.
Oh! Frick! Are each of these kids just little bundles of trauma? Stan gets home and tells his family about his new job, causing Randy to panic. Apparently, the last time Stan was involved with Pee-wee hockey, something horrible happened. Maybe they were talking about this?
I grabbed him! Mommy, I grabbed him!
Classic. Okay, but no, in that flashback, we get the real reason Randy doesn't want Stan to be involved with this hockey gig, and it's gotta be one of the most traumatic things I've ever seen. Oh yeah, I'd be scarred for life if I undershot a goal at the age of 4. At practice the next day, Nelson, the leukemia kid's parents, come up and I feel bad referring to him as the leukemia kid, but I didn't say his name earlier. Anyway, yeah, so their parents come up and just kind of take out their frustrations on Stan, ultimately asking if he could just go talk to their son about death. Why exactly should it be Stan doing this?
Nah, I'm just his father. You're his coach. You're like a father to him.
That's got to be one of the most idiotic sentences I've ever heard.
I'm just his father.
Stan goes to the hospital to talk to Nelson.
You're like a
He's
father
asked
to
all
him.
the big questions that have no answers. Why does a 5-year-old have cancer? Why did it have to be him? What happens after you die? Obviously, Stan can't answer any of those, but he can make a promise.
Make it so I don't have cancer.
Dude, I told you I can't do that.
Will you just win for me?
Okay.
Now Stan has to win this hockey game. He tries to get to the Adams County team to throw the game, but they aren't budging, so he tells his team the news in order to rile them up. Surely that'll work, right?
If we lose, we're gonna kill Nelson? Oh, Jesus, no! I don't want to be a murderer!
Of course it didn't.
I never
Honestly,
saw
I
this
probably would have
episode.
felt the same way when I was 5, but like still. The game begins and it's as riveting as you'd expect a Pee-wee game to be. It goes nowhere and only ends in a tie. But what does that mean for Nelson's cancer?
Well, he isn't worse, but he isn't getting better. It's almost as if his cancer were tied.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my cancer hurts.
So his health really is tied to the outcomes of these hockey games. That can't be a good sign. Also, my cancer hurts is funny in such a twisted way. I'm sorry. The good news is the team's been invited to play against Denver County. The bad news is that Denver County actually scored on Park County a ton the last time they played. What the team needs is an actual good hockey player. A Canadian.
Wow, he's good.
Man, Ike's got a bright future ahead of him with those hockey skills. Finally, the big day arrives. And after the big leagues reach halftime, it's time for the Little League intermission. However, the other Pee-wee team didn't show up, meaning Park County has nobody to play. What'll happen in Nelson? Thankfully, one of the big leagues offered Park County to play in their place against the Detroit Red Wings to give them a chance at winning and curing Nelson's cancer. How kind of them.
Oh!
I take it back, I take it back, I take it all back!
Hey, can they do that?
Oh my God!
Good golly gooper, this is not kind at all, this is pure evil! It's okay, it's okay. I'm collected.
No hope. No hope.
Wow.
That is wild.
Yeah, there's your heartbreak, folks. Stan's face, bro. Look, it's sad, okay? South Park episodes that make you cry, but like, it's so absurd that you kind of just have to laugh away the pain, no? My jaw dropped, brother. And the jaw-dropping train just keeps on rolling with the episode Cartman Sucks. Want proof?
I swear on my mother's life, I'm not going to stick anything yicky in your mouth.
Okay.
All right, you ready? All right, just, okay, open it. Good. Okay, here it comes.
Leave it to South Park to have a heartfelt message buried underneath that.
Oh boy.
So Cartman's been inviting Butters over to spend the night a lot recently, specifically to prank him every time he heads to sleep. And he always makes sure to photograph his handiwork too, no matter how awful the prank gets. That night he pulls off his greatest prank yet and runs to the bus stop to tell his friends all about it the next day.
And then I took a picture of his wiener in my mouth.
Dude.
I know, check it out. Look, I got his whole wiener in my mouth, see? Oh man, I got him good.
See, Cartman, you kinda got yourself good there. Cartman insists that putting Butters' wiener in his mouth makes Butters gay, but the boys tell him that in reality, he's the gay one. A real battle of wits there, folks. Kyle says to counteract the gayness, Cartman has to get Butters to put his wiener in his mouth, and naturally, Cartman rushes to Butters' place and gets to work, blindfold and all. This is so messed up on so many levels, dude.
All right, just, okay, open it. Good. Okay, here it comes. Just sit really still. Okay, here we go.
Butters!
Whoa. Hey, Dad.
Butters, what are you doing?
And it just got a million times worse. That's why you should always knock before entering. Butters' dad tells him that he's just a little bi-curious and goes to church to get him some help. All the while, Butters still has no clue what's going on, because, you know, blindfold.
Is that true, son? Are you feeling confused?
Yeah, I'm pretty confused, all right.
See, I would be too if I were him. The priest tells Butters' dad to send Butters to a camp that cures boys of their bi-curiousness, saying it'll be a great way to fix him. Meanwhile, Cartman goes over to tell his friends that he's caught on to their scheme, saying the internet told him that the only way to reverse the gayness is...
All I have to do is throw away the picture, forget it ever happened, and nobody will ever know.
Except for us.
Right, except for you.
And all the people we tell.
See the problem here? How do you not tell the world about something as hilarious as that? Elsewhere, Butters shows up to the conversion camp and gets assigned an accountability buddy, someone to make sure he doesn't slip up while at camp.
Let's meet Ryan, your accountability buddy. Ryan thought he could never change, but now he's learning that with the power of Christ, he can have a whole new life.
They went there. These are the issues we're tackling here. Buckle up for some uncomfortableness. Back to the others. Cartman's picture of the deed is gone, and so he accuses Kyle of stealing it, with Kyle eventually just getting too fed up to deal with the kid.
Dan, you're a Jew, and Kitty, you're a Jew. You're all Jews.
This is hands down the funniest South Park video I've ever seen in my life. It reminds me a lot of the Family Guy cutaway compilations I used to watch a bunch before YouTube started tripping on me about those.
Ow!
He never gets any more tolerable, does he? Oh, and in case you were wondering if things were any better back at camp,
right now you're like a paperclip, and just like a paperclip, God needs to bend you and shape you and make you straight.
No. Cartman heads over to the police station to try and report the theft, but realizes he doesn't have time for the police to try and get a warrant to search Kyle's home, as show and tell is tomorrow.
It's a picture of me and what appears to be in my mouth.
And if Kyle really does have the photo, I think we all know what that means. Cartman does come up with a plan though, coming somewhat clean to his mother about the situation and asking if she can talk to Kyle's mother. Camp's still not running smoothly for Butters, as Bradley, his new accountability buddy, had a little bit of his contraband discovered.
Then do you mind telling us why we found this Sears men's underwear catalog in your room?
Well, at least it's only Sears. There's much worse magazines Bradley could have had. They're sent off to write scriptures as punishment, but Bradley starts to realize he may actually like Butters. Butters is still kind of clueless, though.
You like me?
Sure, I like you a lot.
Oh God, we're both unfixable. Don't you see we're lost causes? We're just evil and nothing can change us. There's no other way out, Butters. We have to kill ourselves.
Oh, this is getting bleak, man. It's awful. This kind of stuff just isn't limited to South Park. Back to Eric, Miss Cartman calls the Broflovsky residence and puts things bluntly.
Apparently, your son has a picture of Eric with another boy's in his mouth.
Yeah, I think I'd have the same exact reaction, honestly. Cartman's mom tells Eric that Miss Broflovsky assured Kyle didn't have the picture, but Cartman knows it's all just a lie, and decides the only thing he can do now is beat Kyle to the punch of showing the picture and steal his satisfaction.
Then that's it. Kyle wins. But he won't win completely. I'm going to print out another copy of that picture, show it to the class myself.
At camp, Butters is yelled at for losing his buddy, though eventually Bradley is found. Just not in a great place, to say the least. Butters tries to talk him off the ledge of the bridge, but when the counselors say he's too confused to help, he finally snaps.
I wasn't confused until other people started telling me I was. You know what I think? I think maybe you're the ones who are confused. Because if I'm bi-curious, and I'm somehow made from God, then I figure God must be a little bi-curious himself.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. If God loves us all, he loves us all, bi-curious folks included. The speech is enough to get Bradley off the bridge, and even his dad has a change of heart to boot.
I like being bi-curious.
Well, you know something? So do I.
Wait, now I am confused.
You know, confusing as it may be, good on Butters' dad for figuring himself out. Oh yeah, Cartman's show and tell. It went about as well as you'd think. He got all dressed up, brought his slide deck, and set up his projector. Finally showed off his horrid picture to the rest of the class before Kyle could. One issue, though. Mr. Mackey got an urgent message from Cartman's mom a little too late.
Do not show picture. Kyle didn't have it after all. She said you know what that means.
Oh, that stings. Well, you know what they say about assumptions, Cartman.
Lame.
Agreed. Thankfully, nobody got hurt in that last one, but the same cannot be said for the episode The Return of Chef.
Damn it! Oh!
Bro, can I even show that clip? I don't know. The episode starts with a brief previously on South Park bit, where we learn that Chef decided to move out of South Park to join the Super Adventure Club. Did this actually happen in a previous episode? No, not at all. See, Isaac Hayes, the voice actor for Chef, quit the show after the episode Trapped in the Closet aired, as it mocked his religion, Scientology. So now he's gone forever. Or is he?
Hello there, children!
He's back! Yeah!
Yep, seems like Chef is back. Good old Chef is here to stay in South Park, and there's not a thing off about him at all.
Hey, Chef.
How's it going?
Good.
Well, how about I meet you boys after work and we can make love?
What?
Excuse me?
Why? Why? This has to be just a one-off issue, right? Maybe a slip of the tongue.
I'm gonna make love to your asshole, children.
What?
What?
You can't just say that! So after Chef's little moment there, a government agent asks the kids if Chef has ever touched them inappropriately. The boys know he hasn't and figure that something had to have happened to him to get him to act like this, heading over to the Super Adventure Club to get answers.
Hey, you guys, you know what they call Jewish women's boobs? Jubes.
Glad the boys have Cartman to give such insightful commentary on their journey. Jubes.
Not a good
The
joke.
boys arrive at the club, and when they ask why Chef would all of a sudden act freaky around kids after joining them, the headmaster says that that's what the club is all about, doing horrible things to kids across the globe.
What?
Lovely. He asks the boys if they'd like to join them, and when they say no, he's got a backup plan.
Dude, what are you doing?
Oh, well, it doesn't work on everybody.
Well, so long then.
Just what the hell is that thing?
What? What thing? I don't see anything.
The guy had the noises and everything. How did that not work? The boys figure out that the club hypnotized Chef to turn him into a weirdo, and per the recommendations of a therapist, takes Chef to do his old favorite things. Naturally, they head to the strip club, and after a girl who's just Chef's type persuades him, he's finally got something to say.
I'm going up.
Come on, Chef. You can do it.
I'm gonna make love to you, woman. Gonna lay you down by the fire.
With a song like that, you already know the real Chef is back. Though maybe not for long, as the club returns and kidnaps him. Everyone returns to the clubhouse, and the boys aren't leaving without Chef, who's in the process of getting re-brainwashed. To try and convince the boys to let them keep Chef, the club decides to tell the boys their greatest secret: everlasting life.
He discovered that children have things called marlocks in their bodies, and when an adult has the child, the marlocks implode, feeding the adult's receptor cavity with energy that causes immortality, so saith the ruler of Bethos.
Are we talking?
Yeah, I heard some weirdo stuff like that, but I know for a fact that that is just an excuse that weirdos made up to make it okay that they're weirdos. Yeah, don't fall for that. There is no metachlorine or whatever from the Star Wars series in young people that, oh boy.
About immortality or immorality here. Either way, this is ridiculous. Anywho, after some really awful security tries to take the boys out, they break Chef out of his cell and flee the clubhouse. Though right as they're about to make it out for good, the headmaster reminds Chef why he left South Park in the first place. He sought adventure and freedom from his boring Colorado life.
Stay with us and your life be grand and eternal!
Chef, we love you.
Oh, I hate hearing the little quiver in Stan's voice. You can tell how much Chef means to him. Chef starts to walk back towards the club, but lightning strikes the bridge, causing him to plummet to his death below, being impaled for good measure. And being torn apart by animals for even better measure. And for final measure.
Maybe he's still okay. No, really, they say the last thing you do before you die is crap your...
Yeah, that settles it. Chef is dead. A few days later, the town has a beautiful funeral for Chef, saying that they need to forget how he acted for his final days and remember who he really was before all the club shenanigans.
I'm gonna remember Chef as the jolly old guy who always broke into song. I'm gonna remember Chef as the guy who gave us advice to live by.
Yeah, nicely said. If you can't tell, Chef really did never come back to the show because of the Scientology dilemma, and even worse, Isaac Hayes died just a few years later, making this ending hit even harder. We go from loss of friends to a loss of happiness in general with the episodes You're Getting Old and Asperger's. I swear, despite the last one's title, these make me tear up. The turd flower makes sense, just trust me. The episode starts with Stan's birthday party in the middle of present time, and one of Stan's gifts ends up being a CD from a tween wave band, which his mom takes away, as she doesn't approve of it. Naturally. Cartman's got something awful to say about it.
Looks like somebody's on the rag, huh, man?
He never disappoints to disappoint us. Randy talks to Sharon the next day about the CD, where she explains that she doesn't want Stan listening to music that sounds like such crap. Randy points out that their parents said the exact same thing about their music when they were younger, and says that they shouldn't keep the cycle going. Sharon hands the CD to Randy, telling him to listen to it and try saying it doesn't sound like crap. I mean, it can't be that bad. Oh, it literally sounds like crap. Music's getting real experimental these days, huh? Even still, Randy pretends to like the music to prove Sharon wrong and stay cool. The parents rally up the kids and tell them they aren't allowed to listen to the new crap, instead showing them some of the classics.
Now you compare this to tween pop and tell us which one you think is real music.
I mean, yeah, a lot of the classics do kind of sound like crap. I'll give it to the kids. That night, after Sharon puts Stan to bed, Stan grabs his secret iPod and starts listening to his tween wave, whatever the frick it is, wanting to get in a little musical goodness before he heads to bed. One issue. Talk about shitty music taste, huh? I had to. With all the music sounding like crap to Stan, he heads over to the doctor to see if he can't find the issue. The doc says it's very normal for people's taste to change when they grow up and offers to play some Bob Dylan to test the waters for Stan's new music tastes.
Bob Dylan.
Feel like
Can't say I'm a Bob Dylan fan after hearing that one. The doc finds Stan's distaste odd and gives him one more exam, spotting the difference between a turd in the microwave and a Kevin James movie. Spoiler alert, they're the same. Finally, the doctor gives Stan his diagnosis, and it's pretty bleak.
It's a condition called being a cynical asshole. Everything just seems shitty, and everyone starts to seem shitty, and everything they say just starts to...
You know, I swear I hear the exact same thing coming from people's mouths when I turn on the news every day. Guess I'm a cynical asshole too. After another convo where Sharon tries to get Randy out of this childish rebellious phase, Randy decides to be a rock star himself and takes a few of the things he learned from Teen Wave into his act.
I got a fever, but it's under control.
Hey, art is art is art. Back to the boys, Stan tells his buddies about his cynicism diagnosis, and to cheer him up, they decide to go get some ice cream, though it looks like shit. Processed shit. Well, if that's not bad enough for you, try this on for size. Eventually, Randy gets another girl in on his act, and it's a really powerful duet.
Who the hell is that woman, Randy?
If I were Sharon, I don't think I'd have the brain power to even speak here. I'm in the trenches right now. So much crap in this one. The next day, Stan's forced to eat alone at the diner as his friends are sick. Though when he sees them outside...
If you ever hanging out with your significant other and she starts a fart, rap battle, and or sing-along with anyone else, trust and believe you have nothing to worry about.
He knows something is up.
I'm sorry, but you're a bummer to be around. Everything is, that looks like shit, and this is shitty. You guys don't want to be around me?
Yeesh, that's a really tough talk to go through. Imagine losing your friends and knowing it's pretty much your fault entirely, but don't know how to fix it. I don't think there's a way to fix that. I'm gonna be fracking real with you. Thankfully, Stan's offered one more chance to hang out and goes to see a movie with the guys. All he has to do is not bring the mood down. Hey, that's a Jack and Jill trailer.
Oh, come on, people. That's it, Stan. I'm not sitting through a whole movie with you. Dude, wait, I'm sorry. No, Kyle's right. You suck, dude. Me? Did you see that shit?
Okay, to be fair, that movie is literally one of the worst things Adam Sandler cursed us with. It's a damnation on mankind. The boys are just done hanging out with Stan, and even when Kyle tries to explain, he starts to sound and look like crap like everything else. Things are the same for Randy as well, with both himself and Sharon realizing they aren't a happy couple. They got too contrasting of lifestyles. In fact,
I can't fake it anymore. You just seem kind of shitty to me.
You kind of seem shitty to me too.
Yeah, this is just really awful to watch.
No one notices
Natural,
anybody going up the stairs.
Sometimes people grow apart almost more often than not these days, which is just sad, isn't it? To put the cherry on top of this literal shit Sunday, Sharon and Randy split up, and Stan, as lonely as ever, still sees everything as crap. I'll put this bluntly. Stan's got depression as a 10-year-old. The crap continues in the second part of the story with Asperger's. Is Stan still a cynic? Well, here's your answer. You know, I was kind of into that one, actually. Who am I kidding? No, I'm not. Stan's still reeling with his depression, all while the boys are in the middle of a debate about vaccines causing Asperger's, or Asperger's. I call it Asperger's anyway, like Cartman. Like, after a day of misery, the ridiculousness of the scenario and life in general finally causes Stan to explode.
I don't want burgers coming out of my butt. God, shut up! Everyone just shut the f up!
Those types of outbursts are always hard to hear, because you can tell how much the person yelling is hurting inside.
You know what? I agree with Butters wholeheartedly. You never want burgers coming out of your butt.
Stan's called to Mr. Mackey's office to see if he can't be lightened up a bit, but Stan only further comes to terms with his awful life.
When all the things that made you laugh just make you sick, how do you go on when nothing makes you happy?
Yeah, this one's getting really hard to not tear up over. I've seen friends and family have similar issues, and it's... Anyway, Mr. Mackey figures that Stan's only like this because he got the flu vaccine and contracted Asperger's. Dang it. Immersion broken. sparking a bill to be signed by the president banning mandatory school vaccinations. Don't ask why he's a duck. With a new controversy on his mind, Cartman decides to get creative to skip school.
Why are there hamburgers in your underwear?
Are you serious? Oh my god! You're saying I have Asperger's?
I mean, if I was in the 4th grade and heard of this disease for the first time, yeah, it's probably what I'd imagine too. Elsewhere, Wendy heads to Kyle to try and figure out a way to cheer Stan up, but Kyle, well...
No, I can't, Wendy. All his negativity is starting to make me depressed. I have to let him go, and whatever happens next, I'm going to embrace with a totally positive attitude.
Man, a bit harsh, but I guess I kind of get it. Some people just know their limits and can't be around that. It's really tragic. Speaking of tragedy, Kyle tries one of Cartman's homemade burgers and really likes it. Ugh. Later, Stan's brought to an Asperger's research center to try and help him out, but when his mom leaves him alone, things take a hell of a turn. Everyone starts gearing up, and the truth is revealed.
You've been told Asperger's is real. It isn't. It's just a front that we use to stay hidden.
Wait, it's not a real illness?
Of course not. If there was a social development disease, you wouldn't call it Asperger's. That's just mean.
The Asperger's Matrix conspiracy is something I never thought would be revealed to me,
saw
but
that.
here we are. Guess I took the red pill. Or the brown pill? I'll let myself out.
Never take the brown pill.
Secret Society of Cynics does their best to explain why everything is crap in the modern world, saying something is sending out suppressive brainwaves to cheer people up, but they aren't exactly certain on whether it's aliens, robots, mutants, or something else that's sending the waves out. The Society sees Stan as the key to solving this issue and give him a key to infiltrate the brainwashed world: alcohol.
Jill, you got a date with Al Pacino? I think Al Pacino wants to play Twister with your sister.
Adam Sandler, funny.
If it's making Adam Sandler funny, there is no doubt this stuff is the key. Stan finds Kyle and Cartman running Cartman Burger, with the secret ingredient still a secret, mind you, and tries to make amends by explaining the situation, though the cynicism mixed in with alcohol starts to take over.
You, Kyle, you're a piece of shit. Kyle, I love you. You're a piece of shit, though. F you.
If only I had $1 for every time I saw someone acting like that. The next day, Stan wakes up hungover and heads back over to the research center, where society boozes him up once more and sends him back out into the brainwashed world. Let me ask you one question before we continue. Do you think it's smart to fill a 10-year-old's body up with copious amounts of liquor and tell him he's the chosen one? I hope we all learned something today. The meeting Stan burst into was between a bunch of fast food overlords all struggling to compete with Cartman Burger's secret ingredient. And when Stan can't give them the deets, they up the ante.
Kyle, you gotta tell me the secret to Cartman Burger.
What are you doing?
How do you guys make them so yummy?
I don't know.
Better get him to tell you or you're getting shot in the back of the head.
Name a worse way to go than being shot by a man in a chicken suit. I'll wait. Fair point. When their plan doesn't work, the food lords storm the burger stand before the society storms in and starts slinging lead. Eventually, Stan figures out the society is full of crap as well, and finally sets himself straight.
Want everything to go back to the way it was. I don't. You were right, Kyle. Sometimes the only way to go forward is to take a big left turn.
Honestly, a very valuable lesson to take here, as sad as it is. Sometimes it's best to let people get on with their lives, even if it means going a different direction than you. All that means is that you got more opportunities to make new friends and do new and exciting things in your own life. Might not certainly be entirely pleasant, but I guess that's just how life is sometimes.
Stan, get in the car, Stan. Your mom and I are moving back in together.
What?
We worked it out, pal. Surprise!
Oh, all right, never mind. Yep, sometimes in life you just need to stick with what you know. Apparently, things go back to how we'd expect them. Stan's back in his old home with his whole family. People figure out Cartman's rubbing the burgers on his butt, and Kevin James is still getting movies. Kevin James? Kevin James! In fact, the boys are just about to go see the Zookeeper sequel, and Stan's invited to come along with. Although he may need a little something to take the edge off.
Yeah, never give children a loaded pistol, get them super liquored up, and then tell them that they're the chosen one. Sounds like a great way to end up on the news for all the wrong reasons, though. But yo, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and/or subscribe. It's your boy BlastphamousHD, and they calling me Twizzles.